is Mary ready to have her baby at 8 months pregnant? No way. There's no way. And they don't even have a place to be able to give birth. So I can't even imagine being in those circumstances at 8 months pregnant.
We start getting to be 8 months. It's like kind of getting close to where I'd like to have this baby, but we know it's too soon, right? We just know physically it's probably not a good idea.
I think Mary was excited, and I think she was anxious, and she wanted to hold that baby in her arms. But, you know, she knew that it took women a while to have those babies, and she knew that you were pregnant for, an X amount of time, and she grew up around other women, so she would have heard their stories and learned from them. Plus, she had spent that time with Elizabeth.
I don't think so physically or emotionally just yet for the birth and separation. I don't think at 8 months she's quite ready for that yet. But she's getting there. She's preparing, but I don't think she's ready yet.
I think she would have just been excited and not ready in the sense of wanting it to be over, but I think in the sense of wanting him to be in her arms.
I wonder if God didn't create the birthing process with kind of that in mind, knowing how frail we are as human beings, that if we didn't get to a point where we were tired of something, we would never want to take the next step into something.
And then think about it, riding on a donkey. I can't imagine. I mean, I've tried horseback riding and I want it off the horse. So
I think a lot of times you just do what you need to do. And that's probably, or at least my guess of Mary's attitude. If that's what they had to do for the census, then she just went with Joseph.
It was such a cultural thing. I don't know. I mean, it was just how they traveled, and it was just the way of the world back then that they had to do whatever was told of them to do.
She was going to be walking long distances or riding a donkey or whatever manner they traveled. It was going to be tiring and exhausting, and I think she probably didn't look forward to that part of it.
I just try to picture where she was during that time. Maybe it was hot. Tolerating the heat can make it pretty miserable. So being apart from family and support, I mean, there were a lot of things happening. If you really picture what must have been going on with Mary and how I'm sure the Lord comforted her during that time, but I'm sure it was a real difficult time for her.
To see the fruit of her labors and the fruit literally and the fruit of her pregnancy, and to see the foretelling of Gabriel's, words. And yeah, I think she definitely wants to put eyes on this child and hear this child.
Also not knowing, where you're going to stay when you get there, not knowing exactly what all this is going to look like. And then are we going to turn around and have to come right back home? So you've got the return trip quickly as well, and she may not have had all those answers.
I think Mary was probably very calm. I mean, she is going back to, she's probably keeping close Gabriel's words in her heart. I think to rest and hold on and cling to that promise and to understand that there's something special about this child, and she probably still doesn't fully grasp what that is.
Well, at that point, your instincts are kicking in. You never know when you're going to be going into labor. A woman is very, very uncomfortable and insistent. When she wants something done, she wants it right then and there.
God was with her. When we are resting, when we are doing, and we are right in the center of God's will, he's with us. And there's a peace that comes with that. And so I believe also that there was a peace with her.
I think a lot of times now we go to our women friends, we go to the females around us who have experienced birth and pregnancy, and we get a lot of information from them. We can go to the internet, we can look at all that.
And I can't imagine having to travel on top of that, not having a place to go and the plan to give birth. And so that's very nerve-wracking, not only for Mary, but probably for Joseph too. He's stressed out because she's probably stressed out.
We need him. We need the father to be there. And it's one of the biggest reasons why women have abortions, because there's no support from the father of the baby, or the father of the baby was apathetic because he didn't know he could step in and do anything.
I think her help from Joseph would have been encouragement and support, although she needed to encourage and support him because he was going through some of the same struggles.
So his role is so vital. And so I love how pregnancy centers are trying to help men and get fatherhood programs up, because they're just so vital to this whole relationship.
I think he may have needed to learn how to be a more gentle, patient man with a hormonal woman and spending hour after hour after hour with her. I think that would have been important for them. But women today need the same support. We need it from our female friends. We need it from our guys. We need it from our husbands or their partners or whoever. And I think godly men know how to often know how to show the gentleness and the patience.
Just being a support mentally and emotionally, and trying to help her physically, and just trying to understand what she's going through and how she's feeling. That's real important, I think, for Joseph.
Joseph probably would have been concerned about some of those things, but maybe there wasn't a whole lot he could do about it while they were traveling. And I think now, we like our comfort. And I imagine that if a woman isn't comfortable, she probably finds a way to become so as much as possible these days.
Well, definitely you need steady and consistent support. And that's what Joseph became. He chose to protect her, and it was consistent. And that's what modern day women need as well, whether it's from family, from a pregnancy center, from a spouse or a boyfriend. That dedication, that kind of all it takes attitude to support modern day women, for sure.